Show. Living on the water is the only life we know. Yo, ho, ho, ho. It's time for the Bodie Show.
I'm looking at the radar. It's going to be fine.
Great. Excellent news. Thank you.
I'm going to take a screenshot of the radar and not...
What Jeff is trying to say right now is that we're on the houseboat floating in the middle of a bay, and there's a good chance that it may thunder and lightning on us. And there's also a good chance that it won't.
The storm is doing what it sometimes does, which often does, which is it kind of gets pushed north by something in the rivery area. The good news is that we're talking about this because I finally got my ass to the river.
Yeah. I'm going to refrain from hazing you about that because I feel like you've probably given yourself a harder time than any of us could manage to do. So
that's what I do.
We're just so glad you're here.
Thank you. Little fry. Yeah. We're on the bow deck of the houseboat with my oldest, bestest friend, Julia, her husband, Michael, my wife, Missy, and Stephanie. And then on the roof, which we can't see, the roof of the houseboat, are a bunch of children. So we have Boat of the Week. We have boat reviews. You drove 2 boats that you'd never driven before this week.
That's correct.
Yep.
I could do some boat reviews. I would love to do some boat reviews.
Yeah, we have probably some stories. We have a little old business.
Okay. Do you remember what that is? Let's
No.
start there. You don't remember?
Well, the only old business was I drove from Philly to the river, 6-hour drive, 6.5 actually, because I had all sorts of. I had like all of my midlife crisis gear along with me. I had scuba equipment, I want
to interrupt you and say,
what?
I hope everyone's paying attention because this is an amazing story. I really enjoyed it this morning because you kind of tried to gloss over it as you were explaining that you were coming up and you were like, I have a lot of stuff with me that for no reason. And I was like, tell me more. And you're like, I don't want to talk about it. And I was like, tell me more. And then you told me and it was amazing. So you should tell that story now.
I don't know if it was amazing.
It was amazing.
I had towed my big trailer because you never want a smaller trailer with all of the Float A inventory.
Yeah, the loons are here, ladies and gentlemen.
The loons are local. We could talk about the event that we're going to do, maybe.
Yeah,
probably.
let's do that.
All right. We're going to have like a pop-up Bodie Show community event called Boats and Floats.
Yeah, at Rock Island. On the docks.
At 5 o'clock because...
5:15.
5:15 because that's when all of the...
Staff leaves.
Yep. And the island's ours. There's great docks there. It's kind of central as far as the river goes. Beautiful, great views.
There's grills if you want to make a hamburger.
Yeah, and we've done like potlucks and family potlucks there for a while. So we're gonna have boats and floats, and we're hoping that people who listen to the Bodie Show show up.
Also, should we tell people like when we're gonna do this? Would that make it more likely they would show up?
Yeah, but do we want to tell them now?
I don't know because you and I don't know when we're gonna do it.
Yeah, so we'll just tease this for now.
Stay tuned.
We'll put an announcement out.
We promise we're gonna do it. Maybe.
I'm glad that we've managed to move on from my midlife crisis story. So I had the little Subaru was hauling this big trailer.
What was on top of the Subaru, Jeff?
The rowing single that I learned to row in. My dad taught me, and so I'm gonna row again. I'm gonna row this boat like it did when I was a kid. And then in the car was a bunch of scuba equipment because Walker and I learned to scuba dive, which is something I always wanted to do when I was a kid.
Yep. Throw that in the mix. My
chainsaws and axes. And then there was probably the biggest midlife crisis gear was the reissue of the Big Green Machine that I bought on Amazon. The Big Green Machine was a recumbent. It was a recumbent big wheel, and I got one as a hand-me-down from my cousin Cal, but I was too short to reach the pedals for the brief period of time we had it before we moved, and my parents tossed it. And I don't blame them for tossing it. They did the right thing with that. But this thing came out, and I saw it on Amazon, and I just...
You told me it was sort of reissued in some new iteration. It's not like the same thing it was before. No. It's like souped up or something.
It's got a metal frame, and it does hold me. Not as well as I'd hoped. I'm gonna drop 25 pounds.
It does hold.
So that I can. It does hold. Walker took it to a parking lot and did a bunch of drifting in it. It's made to drift.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't. All I have to say about this is that
it has nothing to do with boats.
Yes, and you also had your Bodie Show equipment on board.
I did. I had the podcast in there, so there's a lot of midlife crises happening.
Yeah, and also let's give it a little gentleness as it may deserve.
What?
A lot of interesting interests that you are exploring. I mean, you don't have to just frame it in terms of shitty midlife crisis, like my life is a mess. I'm trying to distract myself. I mean, you can if you want to. I'm just trying to be supportive of you and say...
I didn't think it was that bad.
It is. But also, like...
I had back spasms yesterday.
Also, yeah, you dehydrated yourself, like doing your midlife crisis. You're too old to dehydrate yourself while you're in the middle of distracting yourself from how old you are. It's it's a vicious cycle, and it's not going well.
No.
Also, it wasn't until I actually saw a picture of your car with that goddamn thing on the top of it that I was like, oh shit, this is bad. Like, what? It's like 17 times longer than your car.
Yeah.
Like, everybody on Route 81 was like, I think I'll take a side road.
How many houseboats?
But it was a whole houseboat.
It's at least one. It looks like a whole houseboat.
I think it was a whole houseboat.
Ladies and gentlemen, Missy's chiming in on the microphone as instructed. Nice work.
Thank you.
To confirm that Steph's preferred unit of measurement, which is the houseboat, one houseboat, half a houseboat,
1.5,
1.5, 2 houseboats. Manhattan is 742 houseboats long. It's probably more than that.
I also would like to say that the other day somebody asked me how long my houseboat was, and I had to look at them and say, one houseboat? Because I didn't know.
God dang. We're talking about boats again. It's a boaty show, okay?
What's your point?
I don't know why I'm getting like.
I know you get all aggro over there. You should jump in the river. We should throw you in the river. That's what you used to do.
I'm in my weird beginning of summer mood, like where I don't know where I am and what's going on.
I've already hit some sort of exterior orbit with summer, where the on ramp is really hard and fast and steep, and then you just launch into cyberspace and just kind of orbit, like valence electrons. Ooh, look at this bird situation right behind us.
Osprey. Yep. Osprey's fishing over.
I love South Bay.
So we're in South Bay.
Yeah.
Which is a bay on the head of Wellesley Island. Mm-hmm. Wellesley Island is where our cottage is. It's close to where Steph's Island and Houseboat Dock are. Mm-hmm. And this is a favorite place of ours. Like, we basically raised our children in South Bay.
We did.
Yeah, right back there is the place where Max Kenner tried to pay Toby $50 to catch a seagull.
Duck, but yes.
A duck.
Mm-hmm.
And
then there's that little island that we sent our children to because we wanted to hang out. Yeah. Yeah.
We want to hang out, so we're like, go over there.
Yeah, we sent our children to this little...
And they built forts.
Island, and they built forts, and sometimes they got hurt, but they were not near us, so it's fine. But remember?
They were far enough away that it took them a little bit to actually...
They had to work some shit out on their own before they came to us immediately. And
we talk like we're all tough parents, but we're like really probably not tough enough.
Yeah, we should have sent them to Amish camp.
Amish camp. This is a story because I'll tell the story. Steph's kids were like complaining and not doing whatever and just like whining. And then she saw like a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old boy like driving a team of horses pulling a mechanical hay rake through the field.
In my own field. They were haying my own field.
They were, the Amish boys were haying your own field while your kids were like whining about it.
We brought them lemonade because we're Amish curious. And we brought them lemonade out in the field, and we like standing there, and we're all wearing black, so we looked like we were like Amish wannabes. And then we're standing there and making lemonade, and I'm just like looking at the damn children, just like forking hay. They were 8.
Yeah.
They were like driving horses and forking hay.
Your kids were complaining about that you got the wrong kind of goldfish.
It's hot. And like the Wi-Fi's no good. And I was just like, these children, what did I say?
Need to go to Amish camp.
They need to go to Amish camp.
Yeah.
We will see you in 2 weeks, and you will be a different child.
Yeah. Now, there is a segue back to boats from this because you have a new neighbor.
I do.
You just said it in a weird way, so you're going to have to follow up.
That tone was pure enthusiasm.
Okay. What's his name?
His name is Emmanuel.
And he makes boat canvas.
Does.
He'll make canvas for your boat, cushions and like bimini sunshades and all of that stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like I can talk about Emmanuel and I because he's definitely not going to listen to the Bodhi show.
No.
And but yes, it's been great getting to know him. He stops by and needs help with all kinds of bizarre things. And I would say he's maybe a little English curious.
He is.
He is. So he stops by and he's like, I can't get my boat canvas, but I wondered if you could help me order it on the Amazon.
You're like his cutout. You're like his plug to the English world.
And I'm
you're
like,
Amish curious. He's English curious.
right. And we're like, well, you're weird. And he's like, you're weird. And we're like, let's hang out and drink wine. Okay.
You gave an Amish guy wine?
I did. He clearly wanted wine. He's like, is it wine time? And I was like, yes. And I was like, aren't you supposed to not drink it? And he's like, well, we're not supposed to. And
He gave you air quotes?
Yeah, pretty much.
He gave you
I would
Amish
say.
air quotes.
And I said, well, would you like some? And he was like, I'll take a little wine. And I was like, let's do this. Yeah.
You're corrupting the local.
I know, but you know what? It's not my religion. I don't understand it. It's definitely not.
Mama duck, 2 baby ducks. Inbound.
I love it when we have these nature breaks.
Yep.
We're like in the middle of having a story, and then we're like, someone's catching a fish.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a baby duck.
There's a mama duck with 2 baby ducks. They're coming over here. They look like they know that this is a place where somebody's going to throw them pretzels. Damn it.
What?
All right.
Boats?
Yeah. Oh, no. The drive up. It was one of my favorite times of year because on Route 81 driving north from Pennsylvania, there were lots and lots of people towing their boats to fun places. And I just love that. When you see, it's like a kaleidoscope of boats. There's this great cross section. There are fishing boats, there's little boats, there's big boats, there's fancy boats, there's not fancy boats. It's great.
I am picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. You don't ever really have to think about this because your boats are always just where they're just either in the water or in your barn.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, God forbid I have to actually take a boat somewhere. not going to go well. But I would say that I do spend some time on 81.
Yeah.
And I also, last Friday maybe, I was on 81 and I was like, damn it, there's a lot of boats and trailers.
Yeah.
But that was opening of bass season. I like this because I had a different experience going to the bait store. There were so many boats towing so many fishing boats that you couldn't get in and out of the bait store. And it was a little bit dangerous and definitely frustrating. And you know how I feel about traffic. So
You've heard about the bait store. It was frozen perch
oh, yeah,
for
there
sale
used
at
to
the
be
bait
perch
store.
there, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's the Thousand Island Bait Store, and it's like a mecca. There's a giant billboard that announces its presence when you're coming north on 81, like right before you get to the Thousand Islands Bridge. It's right off the bridge. It's got bait, man. Like it is a bait and tackle store to the extreme. Anything you want.
Yeah, they've got bin after bin after bin after bin after bin of different sized minnows that are named for the fish that's going to eat the minnow, not for the minnow itself. Which
This is musky bait. This is bass bait.
It's very functional, but also dark. So I was having a little...
Because everybody was here because it was the opening of bass season last week.
And I was a little grumpy. This was just today. It was only like 2 hours ago. And I had to fill up some propane, as you do, because I had that, we've got to keep the fridge going here on the houseboat. So there I was with a zillion boats and trailers and I just couldn't get out of there. Like I couldn't get out. It was too much. But now that I like thinking about it from your perspective, which is you were on the highway on the way here and just looking at all the people who are getting on the water.
Yeah, they're coming up to go fishing. They're coming up to camp in the state parks. The state parks.
Yeah.
Which are like one of the beautiful things I see in the Thousand Islands is that there's a place for everybody here. There are castles and mansions, and then there are beautiful state parks that have marinas, and you set up your tent and bring your boat and you can have a great time for not a lot of money. There are RV parks, which is sort of like, in between. There are trailer parks that have docks for them. It's just like, everybody's welcome here. Doesn't matter how much money you have.
It's a really good point.
Yeah.
I remember having grown up here on the island where we knew nothing else in the world was happening. When I worked at Save the River in Clayton, and people would come in, and I swear to you, 75% of those people, I would say, "Where do you stay? How are you here? What are you doing here?" Wells Island State Park. It's a huge state park, and people get here. They learn to love the river here, staying here at that park. It is a beautiful park.
Yep.
The campsites are gorgeous, like right on the
waterfront
Canadian
campsites.
Yeah, Canadian Channel, beautiful, forested, like really nice.
Beaches.
And people learn to love this place and they stay here. Like they come back and buy places.
Yeah.
There,
I meet people who, I came up with my uncle every summer for a week. We would camp and fish.
Exactly.
And, now I have a cottage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of that.
All right. So what would you like to do with our show right now?
Let's do boat reviews. You drove 2 boats this week.
Okay, yeah, I would love to talk about that. I had some 2 very fun days, very different moods. The first one, I was with my friend Jen Fitch, who's been on the show before, and Brian Danforth, who's also been on the show.
Yeah.
And Brian brought his boat, which I'm going to do my best to explain. It's a fishing boat, and it's big. I'm going to say, 26 feet. 28 feet maybe even. And it's like, what does he call it, an express or something? Anyway, yeah?
Yeah, so it's an express. It has a wraparound windshield, but then it has a hard top over the windshield.
So we got in that thing, and Jen Fitch lobbied hard to go to Alexandria Bay for dinner, which doesn't happen all the time. Usually we go to Clayton. And she was right. So we went to Alex Bay. So I was like, can I drive the boat? And I drove the boat. There was only 2 times did Brian have to be like, please don't run over that bass boat in front of us. I feel like I also, in full disclosure, I've had a couple of not so proud boat moments, and I don't know if this is the place to air any of that, but
I don't know what better place there would be.
I don't know. In case anybody,
you like to do, we need to talk about things.
I did come home from that night. I came home from Round Island without my lights on.
By accident?
Yeah.
You just forgot to turn them on?
Didn't turn my lights on.
Ooh, that's not good.
I know. And I got home, and I have not to take this into a super dark place, but I have a relative a couple generations ago who lost her life that way on the river, right in front of Foxy's.
Oh, and where you were driving?
Yeah, and I think about her every time, but still drove right through there with no lights on.
It's a reminder, beginning of the season, there's stuff that we've forgotten because it's been 10 months that we need to remember.
I don't know how that happened, but anyway, that was my less, I'm not proud.
Okay.
Not proud of that moment, but driving the Regulator was so fun, and I feel like in some ways,
it's a big speedboat, 2 outboards. It's called Plan B.
It's called Plan B.
Yep, it's got like 2 250s on it.
Take back, maybe not take back, but I feel like I need to readjust some of the things that I talk about how much I love my boat, and it chugs through anything. And
you don't have to climb up on plane.
Yeah, who needs planing? Well, as it turns out, turns out
maybe you do.
Going fast and planing in a big ass boat is actually really fun. So I don't know. I guess we can just enjoy all of these different styles.
It's good to be reminded of that.
Yeah, I think I docked it too. It was easy to dock.
So it was a twin. You don't have a lot of experience with twin outboards.
That was the hardest thing about it for me, was that when I drive, I usually use the throttle, the piece of the throttle that comes up, and then
it's called the throttle. Throttle lever.
I like the lever, the lever of the throttle. I use that in order to control well how fast you're going and slow you're going.
Yep.
But these had 2 throttles that came up the side and met in the middle because each one was for each engine. Right. Yep. I'm trying to use them together, but there was no leverage, so there was a little bit of going into out of neutral into forward, and everyone. Kind of.
Like you couldn't sort of squeeze it into gear.
I didn't have a leverage point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what Steph's talking about is when you drive a motorboat, there's a lever, and there's no gas pedal unless you're in a jet boat. Those sometimes have gas pedals, but there's a lever.
Sounds like fun.
And you push the lever forward, and it puts it in gear, and then you push the lever further forward, and it gives it a bunch of gas. Steph's leaving, so I'll just explain throttles for a while. And when you hold this is like good boaty stuff. When you hold the throttle, you're inclined to just grab the top of it and move it from there, but you have less fine control. And so sometimes you want to actually move your hand down to the base of it, and you can just kind of push it a little bit more easily, and you're not cranking on this big handle, and that ends up being a way to have much more fine motor control, pun intended. Yeah. You're back.
Thank you for that excellent description.
Okay. So this was fun to drive.
It was so fun to drive.
Twins. Did you put one in forward and one in reverse and spin it and all that stuff?
I sure didn't.
Oh, I've never done that. I've never driven a twin.
I sure did not do any of that. I was I was barely functioning with the whatever, not having one thing to push the thing against, blah, blah. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so fun. I would do it again. And then the other boat that I drove.
Yeah.
Is a 1970s ski boat.
Yeah. Is it a ski nautique or is it a Mastercraft?
Neither. It's a
I know this boat. I've been on it, and I'm blanking on the name. It's Eric and Kimmy's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name either. It's a ski something. It looks just like a nautique. Really, really very small amount of, what's the word for the amount of boat that's out of the water?
Freeboard.
Yep. Very little freeboard, and it was late, and it was just the other night, and Eric really wanted to go skiing. He's a really good skier, and I was in a really bad mood, famously bad, to the point where everybody I was with, who are all good friends of mine, were like, we've never seen you like this before.
Wow.
I know. I was in a really bad mood, angry.
Okay.
I was yelling in a marina.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Eric was like, I really want to go skiing. I want someone to take me. And I was like, I'm going to take you skiing. And it did fix my mood. So that's good. But just driving that boat is fun.
These things, they ride real flat. They don't make a lot of wake because they're meant for speed skiing.
Yeah.
That's what was exciting back in the day. Like on slalom, like just ripping back and forth.
And that's what Eric did.
Yeah.
I mean, we went fast, and I was not even going fast enough. He had to tell me to pump it up, and then he was just ripping back and forth and back.
Carving on the edges of the single slalom ski.
Sun's going down. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But then, like, if he let go and it was time to turn around, then you can turn around like on a dime.
Really?
Yeah,
it's very maneuverable.
The engine is right in the middle. It doesn't tip at all. The big, heavy engine is in the middle of the boat. So you can turn it super hard and fast. And like, that was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are straight inboards. And straight inboards have made a resurgence because people have gotten really into wakeboarding and wake surfing. And it's a lot safer to have the propeller up under the boat where they typically are with a straight inboard than hanging off the back of the boat and where your toes might end up.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll geek a little bit. I haven't geeked in a while.
Yeah, do it.
There is also like a resurgence or like a lot of progress in straight inboard, which means there's a motor and then like a transmission behind the motor, just like in your car. And then a shaft comes straight out of that and goes through the bottom of the boat, and then you bolt a propeller on the end of that.
But that propeller is still in the middle of the bottom of the hull.
Yeah, it's toward it's toward the back, but it's not like hanging out from under the back.
Okay.
And then there's a rudder, which is like a vane or a wing that sticks down from the boat in the water, actually in the slipstream. So the wash, the thrust, the water that the propeller pushes, the rudder is in that. And so when you turn the rudder, it basically acts like a wing in the air. Like if you stick your hand out of the window while you're driving the car, you can like make it go up and down. Anyway.
I hear you now.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So wake surfing has put a bunch of engineering into straight inboard propellers, which benefited us because you can buy a computer numerically controlled machined propeller, which has like very, very tight tolerances for your old school straight inboard boat now. And I stuck one of those on our Penyan tunnel drive.
This is the fourth thing.
It's not just four bladed. This is just talking about like the quality of the propeller as it's been machined out of metal.
Okay, I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
Directs thrust very specifically. And it cut it's really well.
Did you say it directs thrust very specifically?
Yeah, you're the one that's making it on Tundra. Yeah.
Listen, I may be helping other people understand what's happening here, but I am not the only one laughing on the bow of this boat right now. I just want to say that. I just would like others to know that
no.
Keep going. Okay. You're doing great.
And it's very well balanced, so it doesn't vibrate that much while it's directing the thrust.
Now you're doing it on purpose.
Now a little bit. Yep. But it cut the noise on the Penyan by like half. It just got quieter, and it got up and went faster. And it's all because people are wake surfing on straight inboards. Like straight inboards were dead. It was all about outboards and IOs.
I'm distracted by the. I'm not following the content. I'm sorry.
You're distracted by the word thrust.
And every other word you just said. Every other one.
This might have a little bit to do with you.
No, it's not me. Look, there's everyone else
here
is laughing.
Maybe that's you, though.
All right. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that you can get a really high quality straight inboard propeller that's very quiet and specific in how it moves water to propel the boat, since I can't use that other word without you losing it. And you're like waving your hand. It's so...
But no, I'm actually trying to understand and make my brain work better when I'm doing that. Sometimes it takes...
flopping it. All right. So...
Keep talking.
So... inboard boats were dead until wake surfing took off, and all
inboard boats were dead until wake surfing took off.
In popularity. It was all IOs and outboards.
I understand what you're saying now. I understand, but also the ski boat was always the ski boat.
Yeah, it was.
But nobody was getting them because people were skiing less and less.
But that ski boat has probably an older, original cast bronze propeller, but now you can buy a propeller that's been machined out of a solid block of bronze by a computer. And the propeller is shaped in such a way that it's way more efficient, way quieter, doesn't vibrate. That's my point.
Okay. All right. Let me just... do you mind if I try?
Very exciting.
Can I try to recap?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like this is going to be a weak-ass boat show.
Somehow, the fact that computers are involved in propeller manufacturing...
Yes. It's exciting. Very.
It sounds
It means that
boring as shit.
It means that there's engineering being invested in boat propellers in a way that
Tell
there
me
wasn't
exactly
before.
how it's better.
Because if you had a straight inboard before, all you had was a cast propeller that...
What's the difference between the cast propeller and the machine propeller?
The cast propeller, like if it has 3 blades, one of those blades is heavier than the other 2 blades, and so it wobbles and vibrates and makes a lot of noise.
Is that true?
That's totally true. Casting is a is a relatively imprecise form of making things out of metal.
And machining is different from casting?
Yes. Machining is casting is you pour the molten metal into a mold.
Okay, and machining is what?
You carve the metal. You take a block of metal and you carve a propeller out of it.
I have just learned something.
Yeah, how about that?
So, when you cast a propeller,
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of control over, like, say, maybe the density of the metal and the different parts of the prop.
Yeah, like one part of the mold is slightly bigger than the other part of the mold because it's hard to get a sand mold, because that's typically how metal is molded. You actually use sand to make a mold. You do casting in sand.
Okay. And then now, instead of that, we use a machine to carve it out of one solid block that has the
and you
same
get
amount of density all the way through it?
Yep.
How does it have the same amount of density?
Because you get a really, really nice piece of metal from somebody who makes nothing but nice pieces of metal.
Did they also make it from sand?
No. Because they weren't trying to make a part. They were just trying to make a consistent raw material.
Okay.
All right?
This is not going to be a shitty buddy show, by the way.
I don't know.
I take that as a challenge. I do feel like I have learned something here. So at the end of the day...
No matter what. No matter what quality of Bodhi show is produced
Listen,
today.
this is the story that
Yes.
we're playing out right now. Let me recap,
Okay.
okay? Bottom line is, there were inboards, people were skiing, it was the 70s, there were pyramids, it was awesome. And then there were fewer and fewer of those because, I don't know, maybe the propellers were weird and wobbly, maybe? And also everyone stopped skiing. And then all of a sudden everyone was like, oh, hold up, let's go wakeboarding and also surfing.
Wake surfing.
2 different things, but similar and related.
Wake surfing in particular drove this.
And so all of a sudden everybody was like, could we get that? We want that back. We
don't want to get our legs cut off by the propellers sticking out from behind the boat.
Is this unrelated to the fact that we also want super heavy boats?
No, it's the same.
It's the same, right? Because they want to fill up the boat with water so that the wave is as big as possible,
So
right?
they can surf on it, yep. But they don't want to fall off their surfboard and get chopped up by an outboard motor propeller or an IO motor propeller.
Listen,
They want that, but they want that propeller up under the boat, and the way to do that is with a straight inboard.
All right.
So straight inboards have come back.
Okay, I think this is actually really interesting.
And Mercury started making really fuel efficient, powerful inboard motors that they wouldn't have made otherwise. And propeller manufacturers started machining really well balanced, tight tolerance, very, very well. I'm trying not to use the thrust word.
Use it. It's fine. No, nobody minds if it's weird. Does anyone care if it's weird? Everybody loves it when it's weird. Go ahead. Say it. Say it.
So all of this engineering and the cost of that engineering got spread out over all kinds of new boats and propellers, and so that's a good thing. Because I got a new propeller for a 72 Penyan that is 100 times better than any other propeller that has ever been on that boat for $400.
This to me just calls up a moment where I think we're all sitting on the Penyan having a nice time and cruising around, and somewhere in your weird brain you're like, this propeller is so much better than all the other propellers, and how can you tell?
That's about right. Yeah. That's mostly what's going on. And if I'm not thinking about the propeller, I'm thinking about the trim of the boat. Right,
which is amazing, but you also don't talk about that stuff, which is to your credit.
Yeah, well, I want to be around other people.
I'm giving you a serious compliment right now.
Thank you very much.
You know when to shut the fuck up.
I've been trying to not talk about this, and you keep pulling it out of me.
Well, I'm just saying this is the Bodhi Show. This is the place for it. I'm glad we're teasing all of this out, but I'm just saying that you do a great job not geeking out about weird ass shit like sand metal when we're just trying to have a nice
boat ride.
Yeah,
yes. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so could I say one more thing while we're on this topic?
Sure. What is this topic we're on?
We're talking about inboards and their resurgence because of blah blah.
Wake surfing. Yep.
There is one problem with the resurgence. Does everybody know what it is?
Giant wakes.
Repeated wakes back and forth as you're trying to chill the out in a bay somewhere.
Yep.
I mean, maybe we'll just stop talking about it because everyone enjoys the river the way they want to enjoy the river, and we just shouldn't be whiny about it.
We're in a bay somewhere now, and there aren't any wakes.
Yeah, we'll leave it there.
There are a lot of different ways to enjoy the river.
Exactly. I've told this story before, right, my friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of respect for that guy in that moment that was just like, you know what? I don't really care how people enjoy the river. Everybody have a good time. And
when people are trying to talk about banning the poker run
or whatever, or banning, blah, this is too loud and this is too big and this is too whatever.
There's those sailboats are too slow.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I do have that complaint, by the way.
Yeah.
But, I do. This was, if I would make a T-shirt that was like, you know what? I don't really care how people enjoy the river.
Yeah. Just that they are. Whatever. The river, the lake, the ocean, all of it.
What else do we have to do? We did the boat reviews.
So
we geeked out.
So thumbs up on the regulator.
Oh my God! Thumbs up on both of those boats. I need
thumbs
both
up
of them.
on the ski boat.
Yeah, I want them both.
I think in our theoretical boaty show syndicate, there's a ski boat.
Do you mean when you say syndicate? It's what is that? That sounds like TV to me. Isn't that like a TV show?
Syndicate?
Yeah.
Syndicated.
I don't know. Understand what you're talking about.
A syndicate is when a bunch of people get together and they're like, we're gonna make this sort of financial property situation happen, right?
Isn't that a timeshare?
Yeah.
What about boat pool?
Syndicate is my word for boat pool.
I think syndicate's a worse word for boat pool.
All right. So when we have a boaty show boat pool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There'll be an 80s ski boat in that.
Yes, 70s. Yes, they're absolutely
70s.
There will be absolutely
late 70s.
Late 70s ski boat. I'm just still thinking about it. It was so beautiful.
You were in an 80s ski boat, Eric and Kimmy's.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
There's going to be a lot of boats.
I want the regulator because it'll take me to Kingston and back.
Yeah. So Kingston is a Canadian city on the Canadian side of the St. Lawrence River. It's about 20 miles from.
How many houseboats is it? Right. It's
2,703 houseboats.
Right. And also it would take 3 days in the houseboat.
Yeah.
to get there.
25 miles probably from where we are. And there's some big water to cross. So you want something that can handle that. And yeah.
But it's very worth going to. If you're in the car, it takes you 45 minutes. If you're in the boat, it depends on the boat. But
yeah.
you like that?
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, the regulator would be an excellent
Yeah, you
craft.
go to Kingston for dinner and come back. No big deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Caspian Turn.
Oh.
We're right there.
Yep. You were so, cause that just looks like the same gull that we saw before, but you're like, that's totally a turn.
It looks like a fighter jet.
So did that gull.
See the sprung steel, kind of a wing action.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It just took a dump.
Yep, that happens.
Next up.
Yes.
Old business.
Okay, what is it?
Should I tell stories about San Francisco Bay Current?
Yeah.
So we also talked about Alcatraz when we talked about Rikers Island.
Yes, we did.
So we talked about Bay Current and Rikers Island and Bay Current and Alcatraz. So I used to do a lot of open water swimming in San Francisco.
That's cool. You should talk about that.
Okay. And I did it with my best friend Tucker, who I told the story of the Stinky Minky last week's episode.
Stinky Minky.
and he named our whaler the SK, the shit kicker, etc., etc. It's to his credit that Missy and I fell in love with 1,000 Islands, and that Tucker and I did the Alcatraz triathlon together with a bunch of other friends.
God.
And so you get driven on a ferry out to Alcatraz, and you go around behind the island, and you jump off the ferry, and then you swim back to San Francisco. And then you get out. The idea is you transition to a bike, and you bike up and over
Potrero Hill.
No, over
just guessing.
What's the fort at the base of the Golden Gate Bridge? Mason?
I don't know.
Yeah, you bike up and over the Presidio,
yeah.
down to Baker Beach and back, and then you go for a run. But anyway, we jump off this ferry, and they try and time it so that you've got slack tide, but I think there was a delay or something, and so the tide was ripping in, and so you're out in 2-3 foot waves, and you're going down into the trough, and you can't seem to see the city, and you come up to the top of the wave, and you can't see the city, and you go down into the trough, and you can't see the city. And so once you're in, you're on your own. I don't know where Tucker was, and I think we was doing it with our friends Ross and Cedric and Jeremy, a bunch of people. So I was a competitive swimmer in high school and a little bit in college, and had done a bunch of open water swimming for fun, and then we're let's do this triathlon. So I set a line. I basically I look at kind of what the current's doing, and I set a line on the city, and I start swimming. And then I made a couple of adjustments. We were swimming to Aquatic Park, which is this artificial harbor in San Francisco down by really at sort of the end of Fisherman's Wharf. And there are these two big jetties that curl out from the shore, and then there's a narrow opening at the mouth. And you had to swim into that opening to go to the beach and transition to your bike. So I basically read the current right and was lucky and hit that opening dead on. And I came out of the water with a bunch of pros, like professional
the leaders of the pack.
Yeah, the leaders of the pack. I came out of the water with a bunch of pros, and there was like the announcer was like, "Who's this guy? Like number whatever, blah blah." And this was a thing that often happened in triathlons, where I basically would come out of the water with like really fast triathletes, and then I'd spend the rest. Julia's nodding because she's the same deal. Julia and I were swimmers together.
Then did you get on your green big wheel?
Basically, then I basically got on my BMX bike and spent the rest of the day getting passed. Julia's nodding because the same deal. It's like, come out of the water with the pros and then spend the rest of the day with people just like hauling past you. The best part of this is that I got on my bike and I rode up and over the Presidio and down to Baker Beach, and then I'm going back up and over the hill, and I'm like dogging it. And like people are blowing by me, and I'm dogging it because, you know, I was fast as a swim, but like I'm riding my big wheel, and all of a sudden I hear this like ratcheting sound, and I get passed by this guy who's got one leg, and he has a special rig on his bike so that he can ratchet it with one leg when he's climbing a really steep hill. And this dude with one leg fully passes me up the hill and like fades into the distance, and I'm like blowing up the hill. So I came out of the water with pros, and then I got passed by a one-legged guy.
Listen, cheers to that fucking guy. Sounds like he was doing an amazing job.
The fun part of the current story is like another one of our friends got like swept over to Fort Point is the one you ride over. Fort Point at the base of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay.
But no, Fort Mason is where like our friend Luke ended up like basically like getting swept into a jetty and had to like climb out, but Tucker like missed the opening, started swimming against the current and couldn't make it all the way to the opening, and he was like, screw it. And so he climbed through this like slimy, like kelp infested, like barnacle-y passageway through the jetty, and ended up like falling out the other side and swimming across the inner circle of Aquatic Park.
And he was all bloody.
He was all bloody.
Like his feet were all cut up, and he came like limping into the beach. I remember that.
Yeah, he got all carved up by barnacles. So that's the San Francisco Bay Current story. So that was fun. No boats, but like lots of water.
Yeah, lots of water.
Getting passed by a one-legged guy was good.
But also like, I don't know, swimming in Alcatraz. Like,
yeah.
Yikes. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail, but I just want to say you and I were not quite there at the same time, but I was out there, and our lives could not have been more different. Like if we had met then, we would have been like, who the are you? But anyway, here we are. Things come around, go around.
We do a lot.
We do a lot of the same things in slightly different ways.
All right, Stephanie.
Yes. Yes. Oh, nice.
It's the boat of the week, stable or sleek. Check out that vessel, baby, isn't she sweet? It's the boat of the week, the boat of the week. Ooh, how I love me, the boat of the week. La da 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 da. Hey, yeah, let's check out the boat of the week.
All right, I'm looking at the submissions. We got 2 from Capt David. We got another float from Patrick. It may be a resubmission. We got 2 boats from Capt David. Let's look at them.
Great. He
Capt
is one
David.
of my favorite submitters, I must say.
Capt David, 1988 Shamrock Conwalk Cuddy. Always like Shamrock boats. This is Capt David's writing. Especially the center console with the small...
What? Thruster?
Basically. Always like Shamrock boats, especially the center console with the small stabbing cabin. Super strong, protected inboard drive, and this one looks cool. Capt David, hope you're cool with us reading verbatim what you wrote us.
I love that it was not double entendre. It was just
like,
entendre.
Yeah. Just meaning. All right, so here is the Shamrock. Oh, yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah. So I'll describe it. Like kind of a conventional hull shape.
Yeah, but shamrocks are hot no matter what.
Shamrocks are like really sturdily built fishing boats. They're not made anymore. So this is a kind of a conventional hull shape. It's got a nice shear.
Is it an IO?
Nothing too distinctive. It's an inboard.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Where's the motor?
The motor's under the center console.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the rudder back there.
That's crazy.
It's got a sweeping shear. It's got a nice stainless steel bow rail. And a center console means you got the steering wheel and the place where you sit are like a whole thing in the middle of the boat, right? And you can walk all around it. And this thing up front has center console, but then also like a really low profile windshield and a really low profile door down into the cuddy cabin.
So you can go from...
Cuddy's the name for like the little like tiny camping space
also
at the front of your boat.
Stabbin.
Also stabbin cabin.
So you can go from like the center console down into the cabin and then pop up, and I'm assuming there's some seats up here.
No. I think this thing is small enough that there are no seats up there.
But why would there be a windshield if there were no seats?
Oh, yes. So you could walk around. You could walk around the center console, and then there are going to be some seats in front of the center console before you get to the door down into the cuddy cabin.
Okay. I like it. It's amazing. I love it. How long is it? 24? I'm just guessing. It's like 2/3 of a houseboat.
20.
Oh, it's small. I like that.
All right, here's the deal. Must sell soon. This is on a New Hampshire Craigslist. 6,500, Sandown, New Hampshire. $6,500. Must sell due to back issues! ! Keel drive protects prop. So that means that there is a structure that runs the whole, like a spine that runs the whole length of the boat.
It's a great idea.
That is in front of the propeller, which in the Thousand Islands is good because sometimes we hit rocks here.
Yeah, or nudge them gently. Yeah.
Keel drive protects prop. Solid hull and floors. Lots of new stuff. Fuel lines, fuel pump, rebuilt starter, bilge pump. Like new Simrad GPS fish finder, just like the one on Wicked Tuna. Yep, new front wheel jack. That's on the trailer. That's good. It has a trailer. Great inboard. Simple boat. Small V8. Good on gas. Yeah, this is a good one.
I like it.
$6,500 with a trailer. It's got a swim platform on the back.
Let's see.
It's called the Leeway.
Ooh, that's a nice name.
This would be a good boat for you, Stephanie.
It would be a good boat for me.
There's the keel underneath. If there's a log in the middle of the river.
How am I going to haul this shit up on Lizzie's Beach?
Oh, you're totally going to haul it up on Lizzie's Beach.
What? With all that crap under there?
No, the keel would protect that. This thing has shallower draft.
You're going to support me just drive.
No, I don't support you beaching any boat on Lizzie's Beach because it'll quickly, as it has done to your boats in the past, grind a hole in the fiberglass. It did it to the Menemsha. It's currently doing it to the Seaway. So you can keep driving to the beach, but I'm not going to support it.
I don't think we've had this conversation before. I feel like
you need a beaching shoe.
Is that different from a boat condom?
Yes.
Just checking.
There's a picture of the little wraparound windshield and the entrance down into the cuddy.
Yes.
It's got
I could definitely smack my head on that.
Yep.
Don't.
So it's got a good 1988 tinted windshield.
I like it.
Yeah. It's got a there's a
bunch of shit I don't know how to use.
It's got a radio. It's got
some white curly blah blah.
Yep. There's your what's that?
What's that?
Oh,
that's the front.
That's the entrance down into the cuddy cabin. I like this a lot.
No, that's right next to the windshield. It's got to be in front of the. It's in front of the.
Yeah, those are the doors to the cuddy cabin that are open, so you can go down in there. Thank you for that submission, Captain David. And he sent us another one. He's pandering, but I like it because this is the Vermont Craigslist. 1982 Donzi Classic.
I can't believe he was the first one to submit it.
Oh, good Lord.
No.
22-foot Donzi Classic.
The Shamrock is done.
With dual axle trailer, Chevy 454 big block with a Holley 4-barrel carb. Boat's in good condition, ready for the water. TRS outdrive made by Mercury. And it says bulletproof here, totally.
You're not showing me pictures, which I'm slightly resentful.
There's only one picture, which makes you wonder if this is it's in Central Vermont.
I want to see it in the water. $29,000.
Yeah. Is that gray sides or red?
Red.
I can't really tell.
That's red.
Red.
Yep.
Yeah, so Donzi 22 Classic. No real windshield to speak of. Sometimes these things have had windshields. Oh, no, it has a little one. Little wraparound.
It's like it's sort of a, it's a gesture of a windshield.
Yeah, just a hat tip to a windshield. Obligatory, yeah. Right. Okay. I've talked a lot about Donzi 22s. Deep V, they go fast. They cut through the chop.
They look amazing.
They look so good. They're just like straight line, simple, clean, no fuss, all about the rumble of the big block. Yeah.
Have you ever heard this song, 455 Rocket, biggest block alive?
Yeah.
You know the song?
I think so.
Okay.
That's that.
It's really good.
All right. That was, so we got a float of the week from Patrick, which is, I think,
That's right.
Oh, my goodness. This is not the floating living room.
It's the floating porch. It's a floating wraparound porch, which is better than the floating living room.
California Boat Company inflatable water lounge, 11 and a half feet square. It has, okay, can I try? Yeah.
I'm better with floats than boats. Okay, so it's basically like never mind, I'm not. Horseshoe. It's like
U-shaped.
It's like a half U-shaped, thank you.
Yeah.
It's U-shaped, and the top of the float looks like wood-ish.
Yeah, it's got sort of a fake wood pattern.
Fake wood vibes. And then it's got like leanables that look like
big cylindrical bolsters around the perimeter.
I'm going to point out that I am describing this and you are
correcting you.
Yeah.
I'm like
that's okay though. I don't.
I'm like mansplaining.
I don't mind that you're doing it at all.
No.
I just am going to point out that you're doing it.
Okay.
Just to make it weird.
Yeah.
But
keep going. Here you go.
That's it.
There's more pictures though. Look at.
Okay, let me see more pictures. All right. Now he's not going to help me at all. I'm all on my own. But it's like it's basic. Don't you think like if there was a living room in the last session, this is a wraparound porch?
Yeah. So you could have that outside your living room.
You could do that.
Mm-hmm.
This is $600.
That's actually not as much as I would have expected.
It's much more tasteful than the Costco living room that we looked at. The Costco living room was like I am big white and it was like a marshmallow.
Yeah. It was a bouncy house.
Yeah, it was a bouncy house, but a marshmallow, like an all white marshmallow bouncy house.
Yeah.
This is tasteful. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks delightful. I mean, I don't quite know how we would use it except exactly how we're using the houseboat right now.
We're lounging.
We're just lounging.
Except we wouldn't have to have all these creaky chairs.
Wait, hold on.
Here. That is not the creaky captain's chair.
It's a different creaky chair.
Yeah, it's one of those that's going to kill me one of these days.
Well, this is a delightful submission. Thank you very much.
Patrick.
I like that. I want it. I would say I want that.
I'd like to see this floating in the canal outside Patrick and Kimberly's house in Tennis Island.
Do you think though, if you lived like on a canal like that, you're allowed to block it up with floaties?
I think that.
Do you think there's
that Patrick and Kimberly should find out?
I think they should make sure that they're the president of the homeowners
of the HOA
association before they ask that question. And then, but you know what? Again, I'm having a little trouble because I like all of these submissions a lot.
From Paul Sargent.
Oh, that's right.
Art Barge of the Week.
This is okay. Yes, do it. Go.
Yeah?
Go.
Steph and Jeff, in light of the Bodie Show's ongoing promotion and support of art and artists, true, and especially in honor of our Manhattan excursion a few weeks ago, and the resulting 2 great episodes. Thank you very much. These are 2 different but related barge-centric art projects, social sculptures by the artist Mary Mattingly, along with a bunch of collaborators. The first one, Swale, is an ongoing floating food forest, public garden addressing the issue of food deserts and access to healthy food in New York City. In a city surrounded by water, wealth, shipping, and trade, but with tragically high levels of poverty and food insecurity, especially among children, Swale is a mobile public park from which residents can pick food grown via small-scale local farming practices throughout the summer. You can read a lot more about the project here. The second is of Mattingly's earlier barge-centric social sculpture from 2009 called The Water Pod, which greatly influenced the later work, Swale. The Water Pod was designated an official New York City park. That's pretty crazy that she made this and it got called out as a park. And like Swale, the Water Pod featured sustainable food practices, but it was also focused on providing public performance and gathering space. Over the 2009 summer season, the Water Pod traveled to different sites around the New York City harbor, hosting artists in residence, concerts, skill shares, art exhibitions, and a ton of other related happenings. And he sent us with links. This is really cool.
It's really
so
really cool.
He included some pictures also, and I don't know if this is So it's a straight up barge, like with a tugboat that pushes it around.
Floating food forest.
Yep. Floating food forest. I mean, you've got a boat.
How do you beat that? Like,
I don't know. You don't.
It's mission critical.
Yeah. So
it's
so
amazing.
Here it is, parked at the concrete plant that we went past.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a barge covered in gardens, food gardens.
Should we just go work there?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, we like our jobs, but
we do.
That looks better.
Yeah. We have to find like what we could collaborate. That's how you do both.
What do you mean?
Like we do a collaboration with her. Like we both work in healthcare. We do a partnership where we bring a
Band-Aids?
No.
Is that what we have to offer?
I don't know.
Okay.
We
We'll
could
work on that.
We'll work on
Hello, we like your enormous floating food barge. I don't know what to say except okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe.
So here's some more on the water pod. Floating platform and a proposal for nomadic mobile shelters in the water that remain dependent on the city. It was built with materials from New York City's waste stream and designed to embody resourcefulness. Ultimate goal was to provide alternatives to current and future urban living space in anticipation of a greater flux in environmental conditions. Cool. So it's like a geodesic dome house built on a barge.
Is that a barge?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. See the tugboat behind it pushing it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
So there you
I
go.
don't understand
Thank you, Paul.
the second one.
The second one was more about housing and access to housing.
Okay.
It was more of a demonstration of like,
I
hey,
got you.
like we can put housing on this barge made out of waste and use it to highlight the fact that there's no cheap place to live in New York.
Okay. I want to just acknowledge like Paul gets us.
He does. He does. Thank you, Paul.
Paul really like I mean, he really understands what it is we're doing. Like, these are amazing submissions.
Yeah, and really nice write up also, Paul. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, really. And if you haven't seen his work, he does some really beautiful artistic work on water about ships.
Yes.
We'll post some of that too.
We will. He's taken some
it's
amazing pictures.
Really, really, really
Done a bunch
cool.
of other stuff too.
Yeah.
So just in conclusion from Paul. So I know these submissions don't have hot rope rub rails or sexy tumble home of the likely other Boat of the Week competition, but I really appreciate the existential query at the heart of the Boaty Show asking, what even is a boat?
These are our people.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul.
So those are our submissions. What do we think?
For me, a floating food forest is impossible to beat.
Even by a Donzi 22
Shit, I forgot.
with a 454 in it?
But yeah, I'm taking it over the Donzi.
Oh my God, this is
It's a
killing me.
floating food forest.
Of all of the weeks,
we're gonna fight.
of all of the weeks for Captain David to submit, to finally, for somebody, Captain David to submit a Donzi 22 classic.
Captain David, just submit another one next week. It's a floating food forest, going to food deserts and doing good things. Are you kidding me? Also, it's like the sod barge we talked about 2 weeks ago.
It doesn't provoke confusing and unexplained impulses in Missy, like
So?
the motor of the Donzi would.
No, I mean, you're right. When you're right, you're right. But also, like,
Nah, I'm just kidding.
you don't want me to go hard? Okay.
No. Ladies and gentlemen, Mary Mattingly's Swale Floating Food Garden is your Boat of the Week. That's it. Are we going to wrap it?
Wait, that's it?
Yeah.
I have one more thing to say.
All right, go.
I did something really fun the other night. Do you want to hear about it?
Yes.
I had a call from one of my very favorite people. We've talked about her a lot. So Julia Purcell called me and was like, I'm on Jolly and you should come here right now. And I was like, okay.
Jolly is an island.
Yeah, on the backside of Grindstone. And I was on Round Island and it was already dark. And so I was like, great, I'm going to come over and it's going to take me 45 minutes to get there. I'm going to have to turn around and come home. But I'm glad I did it because it was super fun to see everybody. And it was just boat rides. And then on the way home, she and I split up the AirPods. She had a boat, the Carpet Cruiser, and I had my boat. And we each took an AirPod and we did a little tandem cruise on the way home, sharing the AirPods and with like a straight up dance set list.
Sharing the AirPod across the water.
Across the water, 2 boats, 1 playlist, 2 AirPods. Rock and roll back to Eel Bay.
If that's not winning, I don't know what it is.
It was really fun. So I hadn't done that before, and I thought I should share that with everybody in case anybody wanted to do that. You should do it.
Tandem cruising. So you were driving next to each other. You each had an AirPod paired to the same phone.
Right. And we're just getting down. We were just getting down while driving.
Nice work, Steph.
Yeah.
Nice work, Julia.
Yeah. It was fun. We had a great time.
That's
so just tip of the hat to that moment.
That's a great moment. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. And please email your Boat of the Week submissions. We're going to be doing a meetup, boat and float, at some point in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. Rumor has it that there will be, for Boaty Show fans, on July 13th, something very special during the Contenders concert at Thousand Island Park Tabernacle. So we'll put some more info out there on this, but rumor has it, if you are a Boaty Show fan and you are in or are willing to travel to the Thousand Islands on July 13th, Stephanie and I may be doing something very special during the concert. It's just a rumor.
It's not a rumor. You
not a
just
rumor.
said it out loud.
No, it's a rumor. It might. It's
You're trying to make it mysterious.
yeah.
But it's anyway.
Yeah.
I feel what you're doing. Like we've got a concept we don't know. You and I have not actually even talked about what we're doing, but we do have an opportunity to be with what's Jay's title?
He is the writer, producer, director, performer of Bodhi Show original music.
Perfect. So he'll be playing music, and we'll be there, and we hope you will be too.
Yeah. All right. Cool. That's it. We're out.
Out.
Yo ho ho, that's it for the Bodhi Show. Pack the cooler, grab the lines, let's go, go, go. Yo ho ho ho.
It's time. No, it's not time.
That's it for the Bodhi Show.
That's it for the Bodhi Show.
Bye, everybody. Have a great week. Oh, who's here?
It's John and Kate.
Hey, John and Kate. We're podcasting.
Hi. Well, yeah, you already have. It's great. Do you guys need to?
Happy summer. Good. How are you guys? We're good.
Where's my phone? Get a picture.
Whoop.
Where are you going?
We're going down to have a sauna.
Nice.
Oh. Yeah, we actually are.
We're on our way for a sauna.
Have a good sauna. There you go. It's going to be a weird summer.
Is it?
We're podcasting on the houseboat.
That's true.
People are stopping by because they're like, "Oh, hi, we know you because you're our friends, but also, what the?"
Also, can we
doing on
talk
the
about the
houseboat?
fact that when they said, "Are you podcasting?" I assumed that they knew we had a podcast.
But they didn't.
But they didn't.